How's it going, everyone? I am back again this week to do a follow-up video to the videos I did, last week, maybe the week before. I actually just uploaded a video that I recorded last week and kind of forgot to upload. So you'll get two videos uploaded today. That's just how it's going to be. But last week, the videos were all about acquiring weird material using Suno, in this case, which is the AI model that I've been using. But yeah, the whole point was to feed it really strange material and get strange material back. That's kind of been my goal for a while now, is to make the AIs, the generative AIs, create material that is not so generic, and finding ways to do that. And the best way I've found so far is to feed it audio material, because that's what I'm making. I'm making music, is to feed it audio material as a starting point and then to create material based on that. And the weirder you get with the material you feed it, the weirder the outcomes are. Anyway, I got a whole bunch of material. I loaded it all into a session and I started playing around with it and chopping it up and doing various things with it. And I ended up with this track. And I'm pretty happy with it, actually. So I figured maybe we can listen to it. Maybe we can look at some of the stuff that I've done. Now, some things have remained fairly intact from the AI, although I have messed with them in some ways. So these are two recordings here. I can't quite remember if they are duplicates, but I basically did, or they're just like a different part of it, of the original. So they're not duplicates, but I basically have these two parts which I panned. No, actually, I didn't pan them. They're just center, but one of them is reversed and one of them moves forward, and they kind of like weave in and out of each other. They sound like this. I'll just solo them. So quite ominous, very cinematic kind of sound design. I've obviously added some processing. So for a start, there is on each track there's nothing, but on the group I've given it some micro shift, I've made it wider, I've EQ'd it, added hybrid reverb to give it sort of like a bit of a real space, more EQ after the hybrid reverb, Pro MB, bit of multiband. I've added another wider. I don't know why I did that, but it worked. And then I've used shade here for side compression, which we can come to a bit later. Side chain compression. So that's an example of something that was relatively intact. Another example of something which was relatively intact from the original generation was this, which I did a very similar thing with, as you can see, kind of reversed one to the other. In this time, I did pan them. So I think that can be a fun technique, is reversing a sound from the original and then hard panning them so they kind of weave in and out of each other in a textural way. Whereas other stuff, I knew I wanted voice to be a big part of this. I don't know if anybody's been playing Marathon, the latest game from Bungie, but there are some really cool use of like synthetic sounding voices in that game, in the music in that game, and I wanted to do something really similar to that. I was just very inspired by that, but then also it made me think of this track. I think it was by Deep Forest in like the 90s. I'll have to look that up later. But it had a very similar kind of vocal repeating thing, and it's this. Maybe I'll move forward a bit where it's maybe louder. And it's quite dry. There's a tiny bit of reverb on it, but I really wanted it to be quite dry. And it just repeats. And it's on kind of like a polyrhythm, so it's not completely on the grid. But I really like that as a sound. And that was just a snippet of one of the vocal fragments. This is another expansion of that, which is from the same generation. Let's skip forward a bit on this one too. If I bring in the other one. There's something unsettling about that, and I like that. It's kind of a bit horror, a bit creepy. What else have we got here? So there's a bunch of other stuff. So there's more kind of drony, kind of textural stuff like this. So this is all AI generated material. I didn't really mess with that much. I've just got some EQ, some micro shift, some wider. That's about it. Because it just works as a texture. And this is the kind of stuff I was sort of... I guess I was a bit surprised to get these kind of results from the AI, which you would have seen last week in the videos. But to me, like, this is kind of what I wanted. Like, I wanted weird textures, material that I can actually use in compositions, and not just compositions themselves, but fragments, little pieces of sound, because that's way more interesting to me. So there's another one here as well. So again, just more textural kind of stuff. It's the sort of stuff I would expect to find in like a sample pack of like dark textures, you know? So, and considering all of these sounds were the result of stuff like me pointing my microphone out the window, or me making weird noises into my microphone with my mouth, stuff like that, I got really strange results, you know? Another example maybe is this sound here, which I just repeated the sample. Kind of like a dirty impact. And then up the top, we've got the drums. And the drums, I did use AI-generated stuff, material. So on this drum, these slices are all from a piece of audio that I then put into the drum rack and sliced up. And then I made a rhythm out of them with MIDI. So again, it's like I've taken samples from a sample pack and I've made my own rhythm with it. Only all of the samples were AI generated. So I tried to do stuff like that with this track. Another example would be, let's have a look around here. Not that. So this is another element which was AI generated audio, and I just chopped some pieces out. Added some spectral resonance, distortion, reverb. So yeah, you get the idea. What else? So there's also this drone here, which is a granulator patch. The audio is a piece of AI generated audio, a bit of a drone that I then used granulator to sort of smooth out, make sound a bit cooler. That's it, really. It does change key at one point. But yeah, and then there's a few little bits towards the end here, which get quite weird. So there's this part, which if I just solo these 3 here. So there's a lot of stuff happening here. I bounced these ones down like after I did some sound design on them. So this has like some granular effects on it, lots of reverb. This has also got some granular effects on it. So does this. Or some other kinds of effects on it. So, you know, again, but that original sound was kind of an AI generated sound. And there's more down here, which maybe we'll just play the track and we'll come to that when we get there. But plus there's more there as well. There's this sound. Let's listen to that. Really like monstrous, guttural, human sort of sounding thing. Anyway, I also added though some little bit of guitar, which I wasn't really expecting to do, but it just worked. Plus, I added this guitar down here as well. Which, quite frankly, brings it into kind of Tool territory, which I'm totally fine with. I like Tool, but I just wasn't expecting to go there. Anyway, without further ado, I think it's time to listen to the whole track. It is a bit of a lengthy one. It's about 8 and a bit minutes. So let's just, maybe I'll turn my mic off or something, but let's just sit back and bask in it, shall we? Because this is, yeah, I'll just minimize all of these tracks so we can sort of see the whole thing. I will say I'm pretty happy with this. I'm quite stoked how it turned out. I wrestled with this track last week. I kind of hated it for a little while, and then when I came back to it, I was like, oh, this is actually good, and then I just sort of finished it off. Probably still do a little bit of mixing on it maybe, because I only really just finished it yesterday, but this is where it's at now. So let's listen. Everything on soloed? Yep, cool. Let's go. All right. So that's it. There was a little bit at the end there, which I didn't really showcase at the start. I'll just showcase it now, I suppose. But these tracks here. So I've processed the hell out of them. But the original audio is essentially like this. If I just deactivate these and solo this one. Although I've time stretched this as well, so it's not exactly accurate, and I've changed the pitch. But that's AI generated audio essentially. So yeah, that's the track. Hope you enjoyed it. What to say? I like it a lot. And if anything, if nothing else, it's a proof of concept about where this project is going. This is kind of like, okay, I toyed around with things last year trying to figure out what I could do with AI, generative AI in my music practice for my PhD, to, I guess, use it in more conventional ways that I sort of understood or that I could reference to other workflows. So using it as a source of inspiration or a source of material or just material to remix and then turn into my own thing, because I do like remixing stuff. But now it's become this whole other ballgame of like, how can I manipulate the technology to provide me with materials that are on their own weird, discordant, not perfect, not perfected at all. And in a kind of weird irony, somehow by doing that, I get back to humanity, because the way AI generation is going is it becomes overly perfect, plastic even, and just like a kind of, again, perfect representation of what a particular genre might sound like. And I think in order to actually get generative AI to sound organic, to sound more human, to sound more natural, we actually have to push it into directions it doesn't want to go. And so that's kind of my current trajectory. My current goal is to make very organic sounding music, very weird experimental music as well, that sounds organic, by getting generative AI to create materials that it's not really designed to create, and then using those materials to create bespoke original compositions. So this is the first track in that new workflow. There will be others swiftly along the way, as I explore this workflow further. But I find there's something to that. There's something interesting about getting a technology that is made, that is whole purpose is to is to learn off the entirety of human experience, human creation, and then assimilate that into a kind of average, perfected, borderline terrible, meaningless, banal version of that, which does have that sort of spit and polish on it, that kind of perfected sound. And taking that tech and I'm sort of like getting a bit fumbly with the words because it is a bit of a head fuck, but at the end of the day, AI is trying to sound human, and in doing so, it sounds plastic and fake. What if we take the tech to make something that sounds wholly bizarre, wholly imperfect and organic, and somehow we circle back around to that being much more human, much more relatable, much more palatable than a plastic, perfected version of a genre that you know well, you know. And yeah, again, in doing so, we try to sort of get back to humanity with this tech. So that's a bit of a roundabout way of saying what I want to say, but hopefully you understood that. I'll be doing some writing to formulate those thoughts a bit more thoroughly, and I'll hopefully be writing a paper which is speaking more broadly about that as a concept. But this is the first little venture down that path. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm going to leave it there. I will be doing some writing on this, like I just mentioned, on my Substack. So stay tuned for that. That will be going up at some point once I've written it. And yeah, I'll be doing some more videos exploring this process further. Cool. I'll see you next time in the next video. Bye.